This episode is going to start in a small oil refining town, Port Arthur, Texas, just east of Houston. Now, J.P. Richardson, the Big Bopper, was born there. But we're going to focus on a young girl who was born there, went to high school there, and then exploded on the world stage as one of the best rock and roll singers we've ever witnessed. We're going to look at the amazing career of Janis Joplin. Let's drop the needle. Janis Joplin graduated high school in 1960, and she was already pretty much of a rebel. She listened to Ma Rainey and Bessie Smith, and she knew she wanted to be a singer. She attended college, but she dropped out. She actually recorded her first song in 1962, and it was called "What Good Can Drinkin' Do?" Now, she knew she wanted out of Texas, so she hitchhiked to San Francisco. When Janis arrived in San Francisco, she met up with Jorma Kaukonen, who would later go on to be in the Jefferson Airplane. Together, he and Janis actually recorded some songs, which came out on a bootleg album after Janis's death. While in San Francisco, Janis's intake of drugs and alcohol increased dramatically, and her friends got worried about her and persuaded her to come back to Port Arthur, Texas, and clean up her act, which she tried to do, and she actually went back and enrolled in college again, this time to study anthropology. But while in college, she continued to play guitar and sing in the bars and clubs around Austin. Meanwhile, back in San Francisco, a band was forming called Big Brother and the Holding Company, and they had heard about Janis's singing, and so they invited her to leave Texas and come back to San Francisco and join their band. In June of 1966, Janis joins Big Brother and the Holding Company, and they played regularly around the Bay Area, supporting groups and becoming friends with the Grateful Dead, and Janis even moved in with Country Joe McDonald, Country Joe and the Fish. Like so many bands in 1967, Big Brother and the Holding Company with Janis appeared at the Monterey Pop Festival, and then afterwards decided to release their self-titled debut album. There are a number of good tracks on this album. I like the lead-off Bye Bye Baby, Easy Rider, and then Janis has written a couple of songs, Intruder and Women is Losers, and she has arranged the old traditional song and the best song on the record, Down on Me. In 1968, the band changes its name to Janis Joplin and Big Brother and the Holding Company. Now, obviously, this causes some bad feelings inside the band. And in 1968, they release an album called Cheap Thrills, which is a huge hit and goes on to be #1. The album rocks and Janis just wails. It starts with a combination of the two, and then there is Summertime, the hit Piece of My Heart, and Janis's showcase of Ball and Chain. Although the album was a big success, it was kind of short-lived, because by the end of the year, just a few months later, Janis had left the band and decided to go solo. Janis formed a new band called the Cosmic Blues Band and released an album called I Got Those Old Cosmic Blues Again, Mama. The lead-off track is Try, just a little bit harder, followed by Maybe. She also sings the Bee Gees hit, To Love Somebody. Then there's Cosmic Blues and Little Girl Blue. The album sold, but most critics actually said that the Cosmic Blues Band wasn't that good a band and that Big Brother and the Holding Company was a better backing band for Janis. Janis and the Cosmic Blues Band played at Woodstock, but it wasn't nearly as incendiary a performance as her Monterey Pop Festival. In fact, it was not good, and Janis demanded that all the footage that was shot for the film and all the recordings that were done for the subsequent album, that none of her performance could be included. Dissatisfied with the Cosmic Blues Band, Janis decides to form a new band that she calls Full Tilt Boogie Band, and they tour extensively. In 1970, they start work on a new album, which is going to be called Pearl. Sadly, on October 4th of 1970, before that album could be finished, Janis Joplin was found dead in her hotel room in Los Angeles. She died of a heroin overdose. The record company finished the album, and Pearl was released in January of 1971. There's a lot of great tracks on this. The opener, Move Over, Cry Baby, Me and Bobby McGee, a #1 hit, Mercedes-Benz, and the haunting instrumental Buried Alive in the Blues. This was released as an instrumental because it's really the backing track, and Janis was supposed to add the vocal to it. Unfortunately, she never got the chance. After her death, a live double album was released called In Concert. It contains performances with Big Brother and the Holding Company and the Full Tilt Boogie Band. The album was very well received and went to #4 on the charts. In 1979, a film called The Rose is released, starring Bette Midler, and it's based loosely on Janis Joplin. Now, the reason I say loosely is because Janis's family would not allow the filmmakers to have the rights to Janis's life story. In 1995, Janis is inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, although she only recorded 4 albums in her life, her lifestyle, her music, and her legacy all loom large in the history of rock. So pull out some Janis Joplin and keep her rockin'. If you liked this episode, hit the like button, and you can also leave me a comment down below, and I'll respond to you. If you subscribe, we'll let you know when future episodes come out.